On this episode of SAMP&CHANCE Boxing, we're going to take a look back at the weekend that was. Haney, Ramirez, Espinosa. Wow, some great fights there, but you'd be surprised to know which one we thought was the best one of the weekend. Maybe not be surprised. Also, we have a great weekend of boxing coming up this weekend. A fight that I'm looking forward to in the flyweights. We also have Jake Paul fighting this Friday, and we have David Morell Jr. closing out the year for PBC. So, guys, if you want to hear all the details on this and find out who got knocked out in sparring, you got to tune into the show. SAMP&CHANCE, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of SAMP&CHANCE Boxing. It is Thursday, Friday Eve. Mr. Chance Michaels is beside me. How are you, Chance?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. It's been a pretty solid week. No complaints. A lot of learning, a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and here we are, my friend. Why don't we just cut to the chase? Let's just get right into it. Let's get into this past weekend. Let's start with the first fight, I guess. Devin Haney, the one that had all the attention. Devin Haney against Regis Prograis. The clock is on. Your initial thoughts on the fight?
Well, I thought Regis would have come out with a better performance than that. I mean, he's bigger, supposedly was stronger. I get it. He had less reach, but I mean, he didn't do anything in that fight. I mean, he is 34. He kind of looked a little bit shot his last fight, but Regis is over the hill now. He's never going to have a title fight again. I mean, I get it. Haney, great performance. He did everything right. He improved his power. Haney looks, like you said before, looks more natural at this weight. He's not as weight trained as he was at 135. He put on a wicked performance. He won every round. He outboxed him. He outclassed him. Better footwork, better jab, better everything. You name it, Haney did. Disappointing fight. It wasn't very exciting, to be honest with you. Good for Haney for moving up a weight class and winning, but Prograis, I'll give him credit. He admitted he's a better fighter. He's bigger. He's stronger. He hits hard. He made no excuses, but overall was not a very fun fight to watch. But Haney won, did his job. So good for Haney.
Well, I mean, it was a masterclass on his part, just the way he fought, right? I mean, he won basically every round. So, you got to give credit to the man where the credit is due. Yes, he looked better at 140, right? He was in his right weight class finally. And you could see that in his movement and just the way he acted. Regis, I thought, was amazing in the sense that he said, yeah, look, man, I underestimated him. He couldn't get inside. I mean, most of Regis's best work is from the inside, right? He couldn't get to him. He couldn't reach him. And, it just at a certain point, what are you supposed to do? You kind of lose your own train of thought. And I think that's what happened here for Regis. Yeah, he's older. I don't think
slow. He looks finished,
slow. But,
slow.
New king at 140, man. Let's just leave it at that. But I think we have enough time in this round to really quickly touch on it. Espinosa, Ramirez, that, my goodness, was the fight to watch that night. You watched that one. I went the other way. I watched it afterwards. What a crazy fight.
Whenever there's Top Rank on or WWE on, I'm always picking them over the other companies. Just the way I grew up, the way I like it. I love Bob Arum. I love Vince McMahon. Simple as that for me. Now, going into that fight, I wasn't expecting that. Nobody was.
No.
It's probably the fight of the year, top 2 or 3 fight of the year. He was a 15-1 underdog. 15-1 underdog. Ended up winning a decision over 2-time gold medalist. He got knocked down in the 5th round, Espinosa, but he fought back, and that 12th round knockdown probably gave him the win. What a fight, though. I mean, it was back and forth, two Mexican warriors going at it. Fight of the year. It put the Haney fight to shame because Haney did what he did. He looked amazing, but Regis didn't do anything. He was slow. He didn't move. He just looked like he was just collecting a paycheck. These two guys, they weren't collecting a paycheck. They were earning their paycheck. That's the difference between these guys. Amazing fight. The commentating from Joe Tessitore and Tim Bradley, to me, are the best 2 commentators going. I'm not counting Jim Lampley because he's the commentator right now, but amazing fight. Loved it.
That's the end of the round, but I'll quickly add to it if I may. You covered it perfectly. What I take away from this fight, from what I saw, is this, okay? You had a guy that was really kind of taking charge of the fight in Espinosa. in those 4 rounds leading up to that 5th round knockdown. And you know what? This is the one thing I haven't heard too much about. If you look at when he got knocked down and the referee was making his count, he stumbled on the ropes. Normally you would think the referee would stop the fight there, but they didn't. They let it go.
And Tim, yeah, true. Tim Bradley pointed out so beautifully for everybody to see it. Ramirez switched his feet. He's got cute, he got fancy. Then he got caught with the right hook. Sorry, Espinosa, then he got caught with the right hook and he went down. After that, he changed his whole game up and just fought harder. And that 12th round, knockdown, I think, won him the fight. But what a fight. Back and forth.
I know. It was a
if you haven't
solid
seen
fight.
it, go watch it.
But just a quick, your thoughts on that, like the referee not stopping the fight in the 5th when he stumbled. If you look at him, like where he fell down, he went across the ring and he looked like he stumbled and he had to grab on ropes to grab on. 99.9% of the time, the referee's going to wave it off.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't know what the ref was doing there. Maybe
that was a blessing in disguise, though, because I mean, but that just makes me think, like, how quick are the refs to wave something off? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a quick split decision, quick judgment decision, right? But
well, I tell you what, in this case, the referee made the right call.
Espinosa made a name for 15-1 underdog.
Okay,
beat a 2-time gold medalist.
Guys,
$100 would have paid you $1,500 on that.
Guys and girls, you got to go back. We don't see this often enough. I wish we could. This is one fight we all should go back and watch again. Even if you've seen it, I guarantee you're going to see stuff that you probably didn't.
And it was a free fight on TV too, right? They're trying to counter the Haney, the pay-per-view, right? And I said in our last show, the Haney Prograis fight is not a pay-per-view fight. You could see that it wasn't. It just wasn't. It wasn't a good fight.
It was a one-sided fight. And,
but Haney looked amazing. I'm not knocking Haney. I'm saying
no,
for that.
You know, and we'll talk about that another day. I mean, this poor guy still can't get any breaks, man. I mean, it just what it is, right? It is what it is. Haney.
Yeah, right. But he should have fought Lomo before he ran up to 140. That's what I'll never like about the guy. He's dodging it out, and he'll fight Lomo in 2-3 years. Same thing, Canelo with Triple G. It's the same thing. They know they lost. They dodge him out. Oh, fight the guy at 38. Well, fight him now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he dodged Shakur as well. He dodged Tank as well. I mean, he dodged.
He's going to either fight Tank. He's either going to have to fight Shakur, or he's going to have to fight TFE. One of these big guns, he's going to have to fight somebody. Well,
someone's got to come down the pike, man. And there's no shortage of opponents for him now. Now the stew's getting thick. You know what I mean? The stew is getting thick now. Not to take nothing away from Loma, but to be fair to Haney in that instance, he was just having a hard time with that weight cut. It was just
that, and Lomo was just way more skilled fighter than Regis Prograis is. Way more skilled, way more better shape, better athlete.
Yeah.
As you can see.
All right, brother man. Here is the fights of the weekend. Now, this fight that we want to talk about first, I really feel could also potentially be a fight of the year candidate. I don't think enough people are talking about this fight, and I'm referring to Sonny Edwards against Bam Rodriguez. Unification fight, the featherweight IBF and the WO titles are on the line. Let's get this round started, man. This is the battle of little guys, man. Defensive, elusive against power. Your thoughts, man? How do you look at this fight?
Like you said, Ren, it's power versus speed. The little guys are going at it. I mean,
the little guys. Well, let's put that in context, okay? Ramirez or Bam, he's 5'4".
They're little
5'3".
Yeah, they're little guys. I mean, that's not offensive, but I mean, it's a good fight. These guys are fast. This is gonna be hard hitting action. I mean, I give the edge to Bam, but I mean, anything can happen out there. This is a tough one to call, but I'm looking forward to it because I love when the little guys fight because they're so fast. In a blink of an eye, somebody can go down. They just move so quick, and it's fun to watch. I love the heavyweights, but watching the little guys like this is special. So I don't really have a dog in this fight, but I give the edge to Bam, probably via decision.
Well, I think either way, whoever wins this fight is going to be via decision. If there is going to be a knockdown, it will be delivered by Bam, but it's going to be a hard one to deliver, man. This is a battle of the feet and the mind, honestly. This is what this comes down to. Edwards has better movement. Rodriguez's power is something special for a little guy. I mean, his power is just insane. Hard style.
Call him Bam, Jesse Rodriguez.
Well, that's it, right? But Edwards, he has a style that's hard to adapt to. Edwards will come out and he's going to test the waters a little bit, break you down, and then just come in with his little shots and just collect his points. Really, that's what he does, right? Bam relies a lot more on his power, but he also has a defensive sense. So it really comes down to whose mind is going to be crisper, who's going to have the better game plan, and who's going to make that first mistake. It really comes down to a mistake. Honestly, I don't know how to call this one, but I will say I don't, God, I guess we have to make
The best thing about this fight is it's hard to call. I give the edge to Bam, but either way, I don't care who wins. I want to see the fight. This fight's free on the zone, so you can't go wrong with this one, right?
Yeah.
This
Well,
going up against the Showtime card, and then Jake Paul's fights on a Friday, I believe. So
yeah, it's on a Friday.
So you got two good fights, like two good cards on this Saturday. Pick what you want to watch. If you have the zone, watch this one. You can watch the
Yeah.
Showtime cards free too. So,
Look, bottom line is the way I see it, when you look at it, he's gonna have to basically, work through this and wait for his opportunity to get that power shot in, if he's lucky to do so. Ability, but here's the thing that Bam has that Edwards hasn't faced, and this is why I think it's a possibility to get the knockdown: the ability to create angles and throw those power punches. Right. So let's see how Edwards can defend against that.
yeah, and Bam's a betting favorite. Edwards is a 2-1 underdog, which is not that big of an underdog, but Vegas is giving Bam the favorite. Bam's the favorite. We'll see if Sonny Edwards can prove the sharp's wrong in Vegas.
Well, let's see, man. Here's another example of a guy for his first fight away from home. And since Anthony Joshua left the UK to fight in New York, I have not seen many guys do well away from their home base. So this is
seen Tyson Fury do it. There's some guys that do it, but yeah, Lomo.
In essence, yes, but in terms of just this recent history,
Canelo always fights good out of Mexico. Kicks
yeah. But most of their careers are out of there. We're talking about a guy like Sonny Edwards who's just spent all his time in Europe, right? So
if he can win a few fights, big fights, he'll start fighting over here more.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that one. That's the fight that I'm actually looking forward to the most, to be fair, this weekend. All right. Let's take a quick look here at David Morell Jr. against Sena Igeboko from Ghana. So it's Cuba versus Ghana. This is going to be held in the Armory in Minneapolis, the adopted home for David Morell. There's not a lot here on Sena Igeboko. He's 27-2. Some people say he's 28-2. I'm going to go with the 27-2. They're saying that majority of the guys that this guy's fought have been basically soup cans, so there's really no way to gauge most of his victories. But then you got David Morell, and yeah, he's 9-0 with 8 KOs, but how many of those have been actually names, right?
Yeah.
This is a cakewalk. I don't see, he's got.
The reason why they're making this fight is to give David Morell. It's a tune-up fight for him to showcase him. He's still young. He's supposed to be going to be fighting all the top middleweights if he can win this fight in convincing fashion. This is a tune-up fight, and saying that anything can happen, as we see last Friday at Top Rank. But David Morell should get this. I think he could finish him, between round 7 and 8. And if he finishes him, the sky's the limit for this guy. He could be fighting a Benavidez. He could be fighting who knows who he fights. Canelo, Charlo. This is a big fight for
sure. I mean, David Morell's coming in. With crazy power, a good jab, right?
He's young.
And he, the fast, the power, the footwork, he's got it all. I mean, but then again, he hasn't really been tested yet, to be honest.
Not really, no.
Let's be fair, right? That 9-0, 8 knockouts. I mean, it's not suspect, but who on that list would you say wow about?
Nobody really.
He
looks impressive, and he's young, and so they're showcasing him on the last fight. Here's a funny part about this whole fight card. On the fight card, there's 2 old guys fighting. It's Robert the Ghost Guerrero versus Andre Berto, right? 2 old Showtime guys going at it, and they're having a fight. 10-round fight. It's a real fight. It's not an exhibition fight. It's a way of Showtime. Berto hasn't fought much at all in the 5 years. Neither has Guerrero, but they're giving him like a nice thank you for all the good fights you've put on. They're going to go at it. They'll be in the middle, second and third fight out. So that'll be fun to see. Adds a little nostalgia to the fight card. Not just all the young guys fighting. So we'll see how those guys are going to fight, how they look.
Yeah.
I mean, Guerrero beat him last time. They're going to have a rematch, so we'll see.
Yeah, the other fight that I'm actually looking forward to is Venezuela versus Colbert, man, the rematch from March. A lot of people were questioning the decision at that time for Colbert to win. So these guys are going to go at it one more time.
Let's put it this way, is what you were saying. Vegas is giving David Morell all the respect. It was a 13-1 favorite. Senna is a 7-1 underdog, so they're basically saying he's going to whoop him and finish him. But you don't know, because the last guy that we watched fight at Top Rank was 15-1 and he won. So you never know. That's why you tune in. But yeah, David Morell will finish him in the later
Well, I
rounds.
think the only thing that's going to beat David Morell is his ego at this point. And he's right. He's justified to have that ego. I'm not want to take that away, but that can cost him this particular fight if he doesn't pay attention.
He takes him lightly. It could, yes.
It seems like he is, my friend.
He will win. He'll win.
I think everyone's taking that guy lightly.
This is not a great Showtime card, but it's solid. It's a good way to finish it up, and before they go to Amazon.
There you go. All right. Let's talk about the next one that's coming up. This is Friday evening. So we got boxing on Friday, and then we got a full slate on Saturday. So we're talking about Jake Paul versus Andre August. Not much is known about Andre August, man, but he is fighting. I think he's like 8-1 professionally.
10-1-1.
10-1-1 Okay,
and
so
Jake knows that there's not much known about him, but he is a pro boxer, so I think I'm giving him a chance. It's a free fight on the zone. It's not pay-per-view because people aren't going to pay for that. Yeah. And I like what Jake Paul said. I made $200 to $250 million in pay-per-views. I don't need to make this a pay-per-view. I'm just cementing, my resume, my legacy, or whatever. There's really strong talks that, and Canelo might do it for money. They might fight Canelo one day just for a money fight. That'd be a massive fight. And Canelo will beat him, but hey, if Paul can make that happen, why not?
Hey, no, 100%.
Yeah, Andre August, nobody ever heard of him until now. He's just he's a pro, but he's not a top pro. But who knows? In saying that, he could still beat Jake, but Jake wants to be taken a little more serious. So it's a free fight. How can you go wrong?
Okay. I told you the last time that Jake fought, unfortunately it wasn't against the best competition, to be completely fair, but Jake's impressed me. I'm really impressed with Jake Paul. Here's what Jake brings to this fight and what he's really good at. He's good at the range. He's really good from the outside, and he's good at coming in from long range.
So it's hard.
Now, here's the knock on Jake Paul so far, that he's not good on the inside. He's bad defensively on the inside, right? Now, this is interesting because August is really, really good in the inside. Well, maybe not at all levels, but for a Jake Paul level, and I'm not taking anything away from Jake Paul. I'm just saying he still has a lot to learn in his own game. But August does bring in great inside work, man. Great at range, good at the, good inside fighter. Good movement from some of the stuff that I was looking at on him. So this is interesting because Jake is taking on an opponent that really, really magnifies his weaknesses.
Yeah, good for Jake Paul. And Andre August is the happiest man in the world to get on this card. Nobody knows who he is. He can walk by in the mall and nobody knew who he was. You're fighting Jake Paul, huge star, boxing star, YouTube star. Everybody knows what Jake Paul looks like. So this will do nothing but catapult Andre August's career if he can beat him. Smack talk, get some controversy, he'll get some more bigger fights. Even if he loses, he's got to look good. He's got to look like a warrior to get more fights. If he comes out there like Reed just did, and doesn't do anything and stands around flat-footed, you won't see him again. Well, this is a make or break for Andre August, and hey, man, good for him for taking the fight. It's all about the money. He's getting paid well. It's a free fight on Friday. Can't go wrong.
I think Jake is taking this very seriously because you haven't really heard from him in the last month or so. He hasn't been heard per se. To be fair, you haven't really heard much from Jake Paul at all. We're in fight week. We still haven't really heard any, lambasting or kind of, typical Jake Paul kind of.
The Paul brothers they're serious athletes in wrestling and in boxing. You guys don't play around. Whatever they do, they do it and they do it well. And they train their butts off. Logan, Jake, wrestling. Logan's one of the best wrestlers around. Jake's not one of the best boxers, but these guys work hard. They don't make fools of themselves. They make money, and it's going to be a fun fight.
I'm curious to see. I'm curious to watch this fight. Really, I am. I'm curious just for the fact that he's taking on a guy that's exposing his weaknesses, right? So that's that I commend Jake for that. Like, let's see what he's done in training to get better in that aspect of his fighting.
How many brothers? I can't think of anybody. Nobody's done it. Can this supposedly YouTube guys conquer the wrestling world and conquer pay-per-view and boxing? Nobody. It's these guys. Because why? They work their asses off. Bottom line.
And look, you know what? You take away the attitude and then what people think, and I think that's why most people hate on them is because of their success, right?
Absolutely, they're jealous because they can't.
But it comes down to hard work, and we've said it here. Like, everything you want it, you have to work hard, man. Bottom line, and that's what they're doing, right? Like, yeah, what we see of these athletes is when they're relaxing,
Hmm.
right? How often we don't get inside the gym, we don't see them waking up. Like, David Benavidez, for example, I know for a fact that guy's up at 4 or 5 in the morning to go for a run, but where are the cameras then?
Hmm.
Right. So then, you don't see the hard work that goes into these guys that have the money, that have some clout, and they work their asses off. Yeah, Canelo plays golf, but he
There's another
trains.
thing I was saying at one of our independent wrestling shows that we had on the weekend. We're talking about Jake Paul to under us. I won't mention his name. And he says he was knocking Logan Paul. This guy's been wrestling for like 8 to 10 years. I said, how long has Logan been wrestling? I don't know, a couple of years. He's already U.S. champ. Already has some of the best highlights already. He goes, yeah. I said, natural athlete. That's why. He works hard. Guy is trying to dog the guy. But this is what I'm saying. People don't realize they are natural, God gifted talent. But they, like you said, they work.
They work, but let's be fair, they
Paid
have
off.
had some breaks too.
You don't get breaks in WWE by being a
No,
nice
no, no,
guy.
no, 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 no. I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying in general, they've had some breaks to build their name and
But everybody,
get
you
those
gotta
opportunities.
get lucky along the way.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. But that's not to take away from their hard work and what they put into
I
the
think I think Eric Bischoff said it best. Logan Paul's better than 98% of the roster, and I can't argue him there. Jake obviously got a top boxer, but he works hard. He's fun to watch. He's entertaining. That's what you want.
Fair enough. All right, brother
Mhm.
man. There's one more. Well, there's something I wanted to touch on. Calissa Shields getting knocked out by a dude in sparring. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, do it.
All right. So Calista Shields gets knocked out in sparring by a guy. She claims the guy had no padding in the gloves. Um,
I don't believe that. First of all,
why
how
would you-
does she know? Did they check the gloves after? Or is she just saying that? First of all, they shouldn't have been sparring each other. That's just the reality of it. I'm not sure why her coaches would allow that. I
well, the
can tell you
reason
in
I
the
wanted
boxing
to bring it
department
up is like
that
the
once.
reason the reason I bring it up. Sorry, brother. The reason I bring it up is because I've been seeing a lot, and I don't know why, but my feed has just been filled with women complaining about men, transgender men, and things like that,
Yeah.
coming into their sports and diminishing them. And I really feel bad for the ladies on this front. Like, I mean, if you train your back off for a competition only to be, taken out by a guy, I don't care if you have long hair and wear lipstick.
Well,
That's just
it's
wrong.
it's just not safe. I
It's
mean,
not.
at the end of the day, like that sparring should never happen. I don't believe the guy. So you're gonna tell me this guy ripped the padding out of his gloves to knock her out? No way he did that. It's probably hardly hard to believe. Even the boxing that I trained with my kid, I've never ever seen a man and a woman spar because it's dangerous. There's no need for it. It's not taking anything away from women. Not saying they're good boxers, not saying they're not talented, but there's no need for that. That's like saying I'm going to spar Manny Pacquiao. Well, no, he's going to crave my skull in. Like there's no need for that. There's levels and there's certain things to this, and it's dangerous. And she's lucky she didn't get her skull cracked because that could very easily will happen. They should never have allowed that to sparring. Her coach and manager and promoter should be ashamed of themselves. It's absolutely ridiculous to put her in jeopardy like that.
Well, I mean, even if he had padding in the
Nuts.
gloves, he could have knocked her out.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, I don't believe the glove story first of all because that guy could be sued for that. So I don't believe that. I think that she's just covering it because she's a little embarrassed. But I can't believe they sanctioned that. Even allow the trainers are there. You know, your trainer's standing right there. Why would you allow this? There's not by her. Let's just say she knocked this Joe Blow down. It doesn't prove anything. Like, there's no need to even try to say, "Oh, he should punch the guy out." There's no need to even go down this road. It's plain stupidity on everybody involved in the Krista Shields camp, and hopefully she doesn't have any serious damage. When
Well,
you
she
get knocked
seemed
out, your
fine. She
brain
was
rattles in your head. So
she was in IG Live, talking about it yesterday morning. She went on for
mm,
a good half an hour about this all. I didn't catch all of it because after a while it just become, it just all her
ridiculous.
words were just all one big word, right? She just
Yeah,
wouldn't stop.
there's no
Like,
need for it. I thought that was one of the stupidest things I've seen all year. It just come on. Why put your fight or your moneymaker in harm's way? What if she got you know her detached retina? What if she had permanent
yeah,
brain damage?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
find out
No,
over
no, 100%.
sparring?
Look, bottom line, I think we both agree on this that men should
Stupid.
not be participating in women's sports at any level. I don't
No,
care what you
absolutely
say,
not.
right? I mean,
No.
it's wrong.
Women's sports is fine on their own. It's good. It's fun to watch. Men's sports are fine on their own. Keep it that way.
And it's funny how they're trying to take this to court. Like they're actually having congressional hearings about this stuff now, right? Like people,
You
the
start
left.
intertwining this. Well, first of all, if you ever have somebody's going to get killed. There's number one. Number two, nobody's gonna watch it.
Well, I think the girls are doing the right thing right now. I mean, the
They're
round
standing up to it. They're saying, no, we don't want this.
right. They're boycotting their own events now because I think there was this one. What happened? A cycling tournament or a cycling competition. First and second went to the trannies.
Well,
Transgender.
another problem is a lot of the times the transgender athletes, when the females change, they're walking around naked with their penis hanging out. That's very uncomfortable for women. That should never happen.
Okay, first off, if you're going to compete
problem.
in a women's league, you have to, in my opinion, you have to be completely transitioned.
Mhm.
If you're still walking around with your junk, man, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Sexual harassment.
Absolutely.
Or it could be sexual assault.
But the woke left,
flashing.
the left side thinks it's okay.
Nobody's. Yeah, they're not. I'm glad the women.
No, I'm just only sharing with you what I heard on this congressional hearing. One of these.
Yeah, I know.
One of these Democrat ladies was saying that, we're discriminating against these youth even at the age of kindergarten that aren't allowed. Like, first off, what 60-year-old, 5-year-old is making the decision to change their gender?
They're not. Their parents are forcing them to.
Right. But what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, nuts. We're a boxing show. I just wanted to touch on that.
Let women fight the women, the men fight the men. There's no need. Women boxing is great on its own. Men's boxing is great on its own. Let's not intertwine it.
Sports in general.
Somebody's going to get killed. If they mix combat sports with men versus women, somebody will be killed. It's not worth it to prove a point.
Okay.
That could be somebody's daughter to lose their life.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I totally agree with you.
Can you imagine putting Brock Lesnar to fight with you in the UFC with a woman? He's going to kill her.
Well, I mean, anytime, right?
Yeah.
I think the one place that you could practice men and women work together is grappling.
Grappling, yeah.
Grappling is that one thing that could benefit women if they spar with men in grappling.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's kind of like the basketball player who practices shooting on a smaller hoop.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the game and it seems so much easier to kind of, carry on.
Absolutely.
So, I think sparring in terms of combat sports, I think the only thing you could probably do is probably, grappling.
Yeah, you could do some grappling. Yeah, that's okay.
Right.
Hey, man, I don't think the problem is if you start doing that, you get these weird guys. Just takes one or two idiots to rub against them, grab a butt, grab a boob, and then you get some weird stuff.
But I think you go into it knowing.
Yeah, but there's when you get to the lower levels and you just like the regular boxing clubs, regular jiu-jitsu clubs, you get some weird dudes in there doing weird stuff. I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm sorry you had to see that, my friend.
Well, he wasn't doing it too, but you could tell he was a little touchy-feely doing jiu-jitsu, and he was told by the guy who runs the place. I won't say his name. Everybody knows who he is, and you know what I'm saying. Like, so it doesn't always happen, but you get that. It only takes one idiot to ruin it for everybody. 90% of the guys would be fine with it. A couple idiots, a couple horn dogs,
Always takes one horn dog to wreck it for everybody.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, brother man. I tell you what, we've got a lot of stuff in here this week. We've covered 2 fights. We've taken advantage, and we haven't really made our prediction. Have we made our predictions? So who do you think? Who do you have for Sonny Edwards? And Bam.
I'm gonna take Bam.
You're gonna take Bam?
Taking Rodriguez.
Or decision?
I think he's in a win a decision.
Okay.
Split decision.
Split decision.
I'm giving Sonny a lot of respect here. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna agree with you. I think it goes to decision. I think Bam gets enough power in, but don't be surprised if Bam knocks him out in like the 6th or 7th or 8th.
Yeah, that could happen too. Yeah.
Right. So we're both in agreement there. I think we both think Morell's going to take that fight.
Yes,
hands down. And Jake Paul in August.
I'm going to go with my boy Jake. We don't know enough about August. It's hard because nobody's ever seen a fight really. Just kind of a little bit what we know about him, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to my boy Jake Paul. Probably a decision. I'm not sure how many rounds this fight is actually. Is it 10 or is it 8? I'm not sure.
10 rounds.
10 rounds. Yeah, I'm going to take Jake by decision.
You know, I'm going to agree with you because I think Jake realizes what his weakness is. I think this is more for him to show that he has grown as a boxer. He hasn't said it. He's not going to say that, I don't think. But we know what his weakness is and we know what this guy's strength is. And if you think about it, he's fighting a guy in essence, and I'm not saying it's his kryptonite, but it's his kryptonite, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how he handles that. I think if Jake, I'm curious to see. I'm going to agree with you. I think Jake wins by decision.
It's free fight. You got to watch. It's free.
No, it should be fun. It should be fun. All right. Anything in this week in boxing history and Canadian history, my friend?
Yeah, we'll start out with boxing history. And this week in boxing history, one of my top 5 favorite, I hate to say this, but one of my top 5 favorite fighters, Arturo Thunder Gotti lost a second time to Ivan Robinson in Atlantic City. He looked better in this bout than the first bout, but he lost again. Ivan Robinson, who I guess was his kryptonite, lost to him twice. Hate to say it, he still fought like a warrior, like he always does. And this, well, not this week in boxing history, but Canadian boxing history, we got one here. The one and only George Dixon. Now, most people don't know who he is because he was born in 1870. But George Dixon holds quite a few first to his name. He was the first Canadian boxing champion ever, the first Black athlete to ever win a championship. He's in the Canadian Hall of Fame. He's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He's done it. So in any sport ever, he's the first Black athlete to ever win a belt. Born in 1870, George Dixon from Halifax, Nova Scotia, our first ever Canadian champion, and one of the best, greatest Black athletes of all time, George Dixon.
Well, Nova Scotia was known for saving a lot of the people from down south with the Underground Railroad and all that kind of stuff. So that's why that big community is out there. Even the Rocks family, Dwayne, Rocky Johnson and family, they're all from Nova Scotia too.
Yeah, and 1892 was when he won the bantamweight belts. 1892
so
overall.
When you say the first Black athlete to ever win a championship, are we talking any sport?
Any sport.
Wow.
Yeah, George Dixon from Halifax, born 1870. So in 1892, he's 22 years old.
I'm surprised they don't
belt. And in
talk about him enough.
1955, he went in the Canadian Boxing Hall of Fame. What's that?
I'm surprised they don't talk about him enough.
He wasn't flamboyant. He wasn't.
It doesn't matter. If he's the first guy to ever win a championship of any kind in any major sporting event, that guy should be on the top page of everyone for athletes.
Yeah, he's born in 1870. He died in 1908. He was only 37 years old. He didn't live as long back then, right?
Well, he didn't live as long, but the shots were harder too, and they're probably fighting 20-round fights.
Yeah, I don't know how many rounds his fights were, but yeah, he was 1892, born 1870. So George Dixon, Canada's own. That's one of Canada's most famous guys, I guess, if you go back in history books.
Dixon. Guys, look him up. I'm going to look him up after this just to get a bit more insight on. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Michaels. All right, brother man, let's wrap this puppy up. Let's call it a day. The weekend is upon us. We have a lot of boxing starting tomorrow night. This and that. And then the following weekend, the night before Christmas Eve, the 23rd, we're in Saudi Arabia.
3 big fights.
3 big fights, a lot of big names. Now, not all the guys are fighting the right guys. I think the co and the main should be switched around. But we're not getting those fights now. Maybe we'll get them in 2024. But what a great, well, no, because we got Inouye on the 26th as well. So that's probably the last big fight of the year until we get into January.
2024 starts out with a big bang because February 23rd or whatever it is Fury versus Usyk. So the year starts out.
We still got stuff in January. And you know, it's that time of the year, Mr. Michaels. It's time for the year in review. We'll talk about it and determine if we want to do it this week or the following week, but we'll put it together. 2023 was awesome, man.
Really good. A lot of big fights. We've seen some of the fights we wanted to see, so no complaints.
Right. Let's just hope they can hold that momentum. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more about PBC going over to Prime. And that's an interesting deal. We'll get the details in on that and how that's going to play out for everybody over there. Guys, my name is Bobby Sampson. His name is Chance Michaels.
In the words of the great AC/DC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you, and the weekend is upon us, the weekend before Christmas party. And I said this last week, I said it earlier this week. I'm going to say it one more time. Guys, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drug, don't drive. Just find a way home. Be safe. The roads are slicker. It's just that time of the year. Please be safe. Get home to your family so you can all open presents together. And more importantly, we just want you to be back here Monday night and Tuesday and Thursday next week to hear our show. So on that note, everybody, Samp and Chance are out.